Right there, browse. What's up with Trove? And backdrops and video stuff. What's up with Trove logo? And okay. Woo, that's big. Uh, What's up, everybody? This is What's Up with Trove, episode 19. So if you're watching the video, there's a little bit of a change. Pen, hi there. Anyway, there's a wee bit of a change to the video. The audio should not be affected at all. I don't think it should. Basically, if you're listening and you can't see me, I have an awesome backdrop kind of thing going on here up there with the logo and the microphone and Twitter info right over there we go, right there, Twitter info and all that other stuff. Still have no backdrop or green screen yet, but this will do for now, and I'm just playing, experimenting, we're having fun. Woo, cool. All right, so let's boogie. Not a ton of info this week in Trove, but what did drop is so exciting. Yeah, I think yeah, this was an exciting week. But because there's not a ton to do right now in Trove besides challenges, I myself have not been playing too much. I'd really just spent a lot of my time fishing and catching up with my Netflix, and that's really about it. But fishing is great. Just kind of minus Trove down to the side and put Netflix up on the top and just one click cast and fish. Really easy, really awesome. Trying to finish capping my mastery. I want to get mastery 200 before the new class comes out. Just because I've never had cap mastery yet. I'm sitting at 160 right now, so I'm like 40 levels off. So I'm so close, and yet so far. It gets really tricky as you get higher level in mastery. You start to slow down a bit because less stuff gives you mastery. So, but hopefully this week, probably Friday or like next Friday, I can get the costume pack before it goes away, and that should bump it up a bit. So, other than that, just a lot of leveling. I am, I think, 3 levels off now from capping out all of my classes at 20. So super excited about finishing that off. And that's really been my week in Trove: fishing, leveling, and mastery. So it's not a huge week in Trove. Scoot that back just a tiny bit. Test, cool. There we go, not coming in as hot anymore. So that's really it. Other bummer is this week, usually I'm able to catch the live stream that Trove does, and I was not able to this week. I was stuck late at work. So usually I try to get out early on Fridays so I can be home to watch the stream, and I missed it this week. So I tried to catch a recap, but nobody put one up yet. So hopefully next week I'll be able to catch the stream. But yeah, and I couldn't stream it over my phone because Sprint has terrible reception in my area. So, but let's jump into the news. First off, the Create a Boss Like a Boss is finished. We now know what the next Titan, this next Shadow Titan or second Shadow Titan will look like, because we still haven't gotten the first one yet. But a big congratulations to Fried Sushi. She is huge in the modding community for Trove. Lots and lots of mounts have been accepted for her, and her submission for the contest is awesome. It looks great. It's a giant shadow shade hydra. Is actually what the Trove. Wow, stumbling over my own words here. It is what the Shadow Titan is called, is the Shade Hydra. There's a link in the show notes, of course, to that. But big congrats to her, and it looks great, and great concept, and she's even got a neat little story going on behind it. So really great work, and I'm excited to see that in game whenever it should come out. But yeah, and it seemed like it was close for all the other contestants. There were a lot of great ones. But Fried Sushi's was the one that was picked by the community. So big congrats to her once again. Yeah. So also this week, we got the combat numbers were added to the game. In your settings, you can go into miscellaneous, and you can. There's now a tick box that says combat numbers, and you can just check that off, and combat numbers will show up. If you're not familiar with what combat numbers are, they are basically your damage. What you're doing, you can now see. So when you hit something, a little number will float up above the things above the monster's head that you're hitting, and it will tell you how much damage or healing you received or it received. It's been a huge request for the community that we get combat numbers, and finally we have it. I personally turned it on for a bit, and because Trove is such an AoE heavy game, it actually slowed down my system quite a bit. I was noticing a ton of frame rate issues, and so I decided to turn it off myself. But before I turned it off, I hit something with a fireball, and it did 10,000 damage, so that's pretty sweet. So we now know officially how much damage a legendary dragon does with its fireball. Yeah, so that's really the combat numbers. And that's really it for the game news itself. A lot of stuff for the store is actually where we're going to be at for most of the rest of the news this week. Bag slots are now purchasable. Last week I kind of touched on it a little bit in the PTS notes, but now it's officially live. So in your bag, there is a little spot in the bottom, and it actually has the interface to buy the bag slots. Or you can go into the store and you can buy a token, and that will expand your slots, and you can either buy them one at a time or you can buy them in sets of 10. Bag slots normally are 500 for a row, and there are 5 slots in a row. So it's essentially 100 qubits per inventory slot, or credits. I'm sorry. Got those two mixed up again. And you can get you can buy them this week in the store, or not in the store. You can buy them this week from the inventory, and you can buy them for 250 each this week. So they are on sale for 50% off. So definitely get your bag space if you want to buy some now. That will be over, I want to say, Tuesday. So if you're buying bag space and you're not buying the tokens for bag space, make sure you do that. And also, along with the inventory expansion, the starter pack received an upgrade. That's the pack that you can only buy for a limited amount of time when you first start playing the game. I think it's available for 3 days or 5 days, somewhere around there. It's less than a week. But you will now receive 2 inventory expanders for free if you purchase that pack. And for everybody who purchased the starter pack previously, received two inventory expander tokens to compensate for that addition. So, which is pretty awesome that they're going back and retroactively changing packs. And if they do make a change to a previous pack that you already bought, you receive what was added to it, which is pretty awesome. So, excuse me for just a minute. Okay, sorry about that. My mouth was getting dry. Also, Chaos Chest randomization again, and this week it is the big hot item on campus in the Chaos Chest is the Cygnus 01 Speed Cycle, and that's a modification to the Trovian Night Cycle and the Unicycle. So, and it looks, I haven't seen it, but I've heard, and from what people have been saying, it is a pretty sweet looking mount. So I'm assuming that will probably be in the store next week for the usual amount of credits. So Nothing was new on the PTS this week, though, so not really much to talk about there. But we're supposedly, rumors are floating around on the forums that we'll be getting PvP testing soon. Somebody had pointed out that it was mid-July when they said that PvP testing would be coming soon. So hopefully this month or next month we'll be able to hop on the PTS and test PvP, which is going to be pretty sweet to be able to test it. I'm excited for it. It'll add new content to the game, and so I personally don't mind PvP at all. If it's purely cosmetic, then there's no need, no requirement to do PvP. So, but we'll have to see how they address PvP when it comes out, or when we know more about it in the future, I should say. And just some miscellaneous odd news. That's not really super important, but was pretty neat to see. Minion kills, like the Necro Dan or the Tomb Raiders minions. Whenever they got a kill before Tuesday, Magic Find would not count towards that, and now Magic Find officially counts towards minion kills and ally kills. So this is actually a big buff. So Tomb Raiders should be seeing a nice change to their amount of Magic Find criticals and stuff like that. Also, and I don't actually think it went live this week, but soon they'll be fixing minimum window size. Right now you can shrink Trove to, no joke, that big. And if you're watching the video, I'll try to edit in 11 minutes, 30 seconds. I'll try to add in a video actually of what that looks like. But for now, you can actually try it yourself, and you can get Trove down to a wee little micro size. And they're supposed to be fixing that soon, which basically just means that Trove will have a minimum window size. It's not a big change, unless they make it too big for a minimum window size. Then that might be a hit for fishing, but we'll see. We'll see as it comes out. I'm sure they won't make it too big for the minimum size. And another really cool thing, which I really hope they add on to in the future, is patron status is now shown by a little gem on your character screen. It'll show your character and then your a little gem next to it, and it'll say patron status is active. If you are a subscribing patron, then that will show up there. So we now actually have a visual clarification that that patron status is working besides checking your Magic Find. And I personally would also like to see an in-game tracker for how much patron time I have left, because now on their website they have a recurring patron status option, so you can go in and say automatically pull out $15, $30, or $45, I think, per month, 3 months or 6 months or whatever it is. You can have them automatically take it out of your through your card, but I am paying through the in-game, which means it's not recurring. So unless I go into the website itself, I don't have a way to check how long I have patron status for. And it would be a really nice addition, even if it was just a small number at the bottom of the patron status window that said you have 10 days left or something, just so I know when I need to buy patron status so it doesn't lapse itself. That'd be really nice to see. So, but that's really it for the news this week. I'm starting to kind of see a repetition of, Windows needs an update. I'll have to do that afterwards. But anyway, sorry, lost track there. Wow. So Trove seems to be doing like little mini updates every week, and this is great. I have no complaints whatsoever. But in terms for the podcast itself, you'll probably see like small, short podcasts, maybe 15, 20 minutes, and then 15, 20 minutes, and then on the bigger updates will go upwards of 45 minutes to an hour. And this episode may go that long as well. I don't know. We'll see how long the weekly discussion goes. So it could go a half hour, could go as long as 15 minutes. We'll see. But so it's kind of going to go in between just based on how much news I actually have to talk about. And if you guys have thoughts on what to talk about, please let me know. And I'll even try to bring you on the show if you'd like. we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But let me know if you guys want me to talk about something, or if you guys have something on your minds about Trove. Let me know, and we'll create some conversation or something. It's great. I love hearing from people. I see a lot of good reviews on the YouTube videos and everything, which those are awesome. They mean a ton to me. I love them so much. So yeah, let's go ahead and jump into the weekly discussion. And this week, we're going to touch on a touchy subject in a way. Now, I'll say what I'm going to talk about, but don't immediately shut off the podcast because you think it's going to be a bad discussion. We're going to talk about leechers today. Now, it's not the usual. A lot of people on the forums are very angry about leechers. If you don't know what a leecher is, it's somebody who, for example, challenge modes, will jump into the minimum range to get credit and then just sit there. Now, people are upset and they say they want them nerfed, they want them gone. And instead of talking about how I agree with that, I want to talk about how it's hard for Tryon to fix that issue. And on the show notes, there's actually got a little pros and cons list that I wrote out there. But basically, a lot of people give good reasons for why leechers should be gone. I mean, leechers should be like taken away because they don't do anything, they don't help, and they don't deserve credit for me doing all the work. Or the group the people who are participating do all the work, and the leechers get stuff for free. They essentially get a free ride. And while I do disagree, how many times have you been, one potential fix for leechers that is very common to see is to put some set of code in to say, if you don't touch the boss, you don't get credit. And while that is a fix, it's also bad for people who have bad latency or people who fall behind. I can't count the number of times that I've been in a challenge mode where I've fallen behind and I just barely make it into the boss room before the boss dies. I mean, you have 50 people zerging the boss at a maximum, 25 roundabout at a minimum, and they can kill the boss as quickly as 2 or 3 seconds. And if that were to go through, if you fell behind even a second or two and you didn't get that hit on the boss, you would lose so many caches, it's not even funny. And then people would be on the forums complaining, hey, I don't have time to tag the boss, or hey, my frame rates are too low, my latency's too low. So it's very touchy ground for Trove to try to fix it that way, just because it's a 50-50 shot. Sure, you get rid of the leechers, but now you're not helping the people with bad computers. And I'm not saying like bad computers, I'm saying computers that can't run Trove at awesome specs. I mean, remember, it is a big frame rate and latency hit when you have 50 people running around to basically get to one spot and zerging all in the same room. It's going to create some problems. And that's the major thing that people are saying to do. The other part is actually that's really the main one. And faster challenges. People are saying that a good thing about fixing leechers is it would promote people going in and another update. Sorry. Removing leechers from the game would promote actually helping, and sure, the challenges would go fast enough, but I would argue to say that challenges already go fast. We have 20 minutes, and that's plenty of time. That's plenty enough time if you're in U5 or U6 to get all of your challenges done if you're the required class, and if not, you'll at least get 3 out of 4. But I lost where I was going there. Curse you, Windows Update. But the other issue that people are saying, and I kind of agree, kind of don't agree, is when you're doing challenge modes, if there are less leechers. If there are more leechers, less people get loot. So if you're not aware, Trove has a maximum amount of loot that can be distributed per dungeon. Basically, it's 8 random people, I do believe. It's either 7 or 8 random people receive loot that are within range of the dungeon. Now, people are saying that they should add a tag to the boss to add loot, but I would say that even if the leechers go away, there are still going to be people there to receive loot, and it's not going to fix anything. It's just going to mean that there are no leechers getting loot. And while that would be a good thing and it would remove more leechers, you're still not going to get loot. That's not a really major valid argument. So I guess really in quick summary, because like I said, it's a very touchy subject, and it's pretty much been beaten and beaten and beaten, and just beating a dead horse at this point. Just what I'm trying to say is it's touchy for Trove, the developers of Trove, to come up with a way to remove leechers without hurting the players that are trying to play the game. It's extremely touchy, and I'm sure sometime they will figure out a way to do this, but it takes time. So like proactive suggestions and everything, and just kind of watch the forums. And I don't know where I'm going with this now. But yeah, it's a very, very, very tough thing to fix in games, to remove leechers from the game. So there's not a ton, in my eyes at least, that I can see to where this can be quote unquote fixed. I would say it's more, oh, no, Cortana, I don't want to talk to you. Cortana's trying to put in her input. But anyway, it seems more beneficial just to keep the leechers around, get in, do your challenge, and then get out. It's just because there are leechers doesn't mean that you're not going to get your challenge done. I mean, how many times have leechers actually stopped you from finishing the challenge? Unless it's like the last second. And then even then, 90% of the time, you won't have finished it on time. So they don't really hurt more than it would hurt to remove them. There we go. That's what I'm trying to get at. Because if we remove the leechers, we're going to get a nerf and nobody will be happy. Whereas right now, the people that are upset at leechers are the only ones that are unhappy. So, well, and if they come up with something, I'm sure they will in the future. But for now, leechers are here. Just go on with your challenge modes, finish them, and then leave. I mean, that's really about it. And that's really going to be it for this week. There's community spotlight. I did find something that you guys might like. On the Trove forums, under the media section, there are awesome artists all the time that are submitting great content, and I found one that I really, really liked. I'm a big fan of time-lapse art, and basically what time-lapse art is somebody does a really nice drawing, or a really like in-depth drawing, or any kind of art really, and they record themselves doing it in the process, and then they put that video up on the internet for people to watch in speed. They speed it up like 10, 20 times, and it's awesome. So the one that I put in the show notes this week for the community spotlight is called Fae Trickster Time Lapse, and it's created by, and I do apologize if I mispronounce your name, but it's created by Bryolicia. And hold on. All right, I am like out of breath today. It's crazy. It's a heated subject today. That's what it is, and it's kind of hot. But anyway, so Fae Trickster Time Lapse, created by Bryolicia. It's awesome artwork. It's a Fae Trickster, and it's just really beautiful. And she put the time lapse video up on YouTube, and there's a link to it in the show notes to the Trove forums, so you guys can all check that out. But it's just great, and she's a really talented artist, and it just deserves some credit. So definitely check that out. And that's really it. Oh, I don't have my sounder up for. Let me bring that up real quick. Soundboard. Come on. Soundboard. So that's really gonna be it. And I'm gonna end the show, and if you want to find me on Twitter, and let me know your opinions on leechers, or ways that I've missed or things that I've missed. Or if you want to yell at me for talking about a touchy subject, please go for it. If you tell me that you guys don't want to hear about stuff like that, let me know and I won't talk about it again. Let me know. It's all up to you guys. But anyway, if you want to get a hold of me, the best way to do it's on Twitter. At Alan91330 is my Twitter handle. I'm pretty much there, functioning all day. I love Twitter. Twitter is awesome. And if you want to play Trove or find me on the forums, it's Tiny, Tiny. Oh, excuse me. And I play Trove a couple times a week. I'm on at least once a day to get my consecutive days credit taken care of. But I play just a little bit in increments every day, especially during this downtime with content. I play a ton when there's a new class, actually, more than I probably should. That's kind of crazy. But yeah, so hit me up in game if you want to play or anything. Find me in game or on the forums as Tiny. You can email the show, whatsupwithtrove@gmail.com. If you have comments, questions, concerns, issues, suggestions for the show, if you want to come on the show, I'm more than happy to try and bring someone on. I'd actually like to experiment with that. That'd be fun. But you feel free to email me or Twitter, anything. Let me know. YouTube me. But probably Twitter and email are the best ways to get a hold of me. And the show notes for every week are on whatsupwithtrove.blogspot.com. Basically, the show notes are a summary of the show written out in kind of an outline fashion, so you can kind of skim through it or follow along or as you're listening and watching. Yeah, that's pretty much going to be it, though. You can find on YouTube, you can find the video, as you're probably already there, because that's really the only place I put the video. But if you want to take me on the road, if you want to put me in your car, or if you don't like my face, you can just listen to an audio format of the show. And that is on SoundCloud, Stitcher, and iTunes. So feel free to look me up there and listen to the podcast. Take me on the road with you. I like to travel. I'm a really good talker online. Yeah, online. Terrible at talking in person. It's really weird. That's actually, my grandma says that all the time. She says, "Oh, my grandson's doing a podcast and he doesn't really talk much," but that's a terrible grandma impersonation. I'm sorry if I insulted anybody's grandma. But she does. She says that all the time. It's awesome. Shout out to you, Grandma. Hi, if you're still listening. She listens to like the first 5 minutes of the episode, and then I start talking about Trove, and she fades out. And I totally understand. That's awesome. And my dad says that too. If you're listening, hi, Dad. I see you. Or, well, I don't see you. I don't even hear you. You hear me. Hi. And everyone else who's listening to the show. And I want to give a shout out to everyone who's listening and watching. You guys are the greatest. I checked SoundCloud out today, or yesterday actually, and I was checking to make sure all the episodes were in order, and I was looking at the amount of plays that I had on SoundCloud, and I realized that for the past month now, for the past 4 episodes, I've had 25 listeners on SoundCloud, and that's awesome. That is awesome. That's amazing. I'm very, very impressed that people want to listen. So big shout out to everybody out there in the world who's listening right now. It's fantastic. I love it, and so thank you so much. That's really gonna be it for the show. I hit my little bumper here in a second, and we'll transition into the future of Trove. And if you're interested in the future of Trove, please hang out. We talk about spoilers from the stream, spoilers from data mining. I like to keep that in a separate section of the show, so if you do play Trove without spoilers, they aren't exactly spoiled for you, so you can still listen to the podcast. So that's going to be it. Thanks again, everybody, for listening, and I'll see you on the other side of the bumper.
You've got to come back with me. Where? Back to the future.
Okay, thanks for sticking around. If you wanted to stick around for the future Trove, I need to work on some new bumpers. And that's something I am working on, little bit by little bit. It's a progression here. I want to start live streaming in the future, but that's a ways away. Anywho, so future Trove this week. The biggest thing, because like I said, I missed the stream this week, and I'm really bummed. So hopefully I didn't miss too much this week in the stream. But basically, Tryon does a weekly stream, and the link to that is in the show notes. When it comes up to rewatch, I try to put that every week in the show notes so you can actually go watch it, so you can see what I'm talking about. But the big thing that I saw was, and I don't remember who, so I apologize that I can't give you credit, but on the forum, somebody had data mined that there are, on the PTS, code for the Uber 7 through 10 portals, as well as items called Adventurer's Keys. And so it's good because that gives us a new way to do endgame content if they are as it sounds. I'm kind of thinking that they're going to do some sort of shadow key type thing for like shadow key or for shadow arenas for the Uber portals. And like I said, it's cool, but it kind of concerns me a little bit, just a little bit. And like I said, everything in this section is based off of theory and just data mining. So nothing is in perspective. I don't have any inside facts. I just have what you guys can see. But it sounds like in my head, and I actually just kind of expanded on it in my head a little bit, it kind of sounds like maybe they'll put a lock on 7, 8, 9, and 10 Uber levels, and you'll have to run the previous Uber levels and craft keys for them. And they'll be significantly harder, more loot, more magic find, all that stuff. And the only way that we'll really know is when they talk about it in the future. But just based off of seeing it, we're going to get some more endgame. And I'm assuming it will be more difficult as well. So we'll see. And that's really all I got. I don't really have much for this week. Yeah, let me check Reddit here. Reddit Trove. I'll do a quick skim and see if anybody has any special super secret things. Can we have a market? Teleport to Cornerstone suggestion. Oh, lots of suggestions and funny memes. And some YouTubers. Cool. So yeah, I guess that's really about it for this week. I know I'm probably a lot out of breath this week, but it's kind of hot down here. I need to get a fan. We'll see how it goes. So yeah, thanks everyone for sticking around and listening to the Future Trove. And that's really going to be it. So I will see you guys next week or in game. Bye.